Hi, I'm Julia Lampert, the host of the Knights Open Circuit podcast, the UCF IEEE's official podcast, and I'm here with Nick, the SHPE president. How are you today?
I'm doing good. How about you?
I'm great. Thank you for coming today.
Yeah, I'm super excited. Let's get it going.
Great. All right, so tell us who you are, what you're majoring in, and what your role in SHPE is.
Sure. So, my name is Nick. I'm an aerospace engineering major, and I'm the president of SHPE UCF. SHPE is the Society of Hispanic Professional Engineers.
All right, and so what do you do as president? Like, what's your
Sure.
do?
So, the Society of Hispanic Professional Engineers, SHPE, we're a club that where you don't have to be Hispanic or even an engineer to join. We're just a club that focuses overall on the engineering side of things. We want to focus on, I guess, developing people professionally, academically, socially, all of these things in a well rounded way. So, as president, I oversee the rest of the board members who each handle a specific committee, and I make sure that they're doing everything that they need to be doing and that they're feeling okay doing it, making sure that the members are happy, and really putting out fires all over the place.
So what different committees do you have like in the club?
Sure. So, how it's built is that there's like the four executive board positions. So, your typical president, vice president, treasurer, and secretary. And then besides that, we've got seven other positions. So, our professional development side of things work on the typical like resume critiques, elevator pitches, and things like that to help you like prepare you for the workforce. There's also the social side of things, marketing. We've got projects and a few others like our corporate affairs to bring in those sponsors and companies to UCF, projects to give hands-on experience, and technology who manage our website and our app.
Awesome. That's great. And the projects are like all the different engineerings together. And is there projects that you can be not an engineering major and work on?
Yeah, definitely. So since SHPE is so, I guess, broad, we have all majors of all classes, right? So we want to make the projects accessible, and we'll do it through like hosting workshops where, by the end of it, you'll be doing your project. One that we did this semester was like an electric catapult, where we walk you through how to sort of make that catapult with some parts and make it powered.
That's dope.
Yep.
So if I was a freshman and I was in the intro to engineering class or like any other intro classes, what would you say to me? Like, why should I join SHPE?
I think you should join SHPE because it's such a huge club in a great sort of, I think, a lot of the times you talk about quantity like it's a great thing without talking about the quality. But last year we won the best academic organization of UCF.
What?
Yeah, so I was pretty happy about that. And I think it's because of, the quality of our events. We have a little bit for everybody. We have an event almost every single day. So
Wow.
there's really a lot to do. And anybody who is looking to do something on campus, whether it's one of our social events, one of our professional development, even if you're looking to get some website experience when you're not even in tech, like it's open to everybody. And you don't even have to be a paid member to come to 99% of our events.
That is actually really cool that you open it up to non-paid members. Why do you guys do that?
Because especially when we won an award like best academic organization, I don't want to close that off to people, right? And it's something that we've done since forever. We want to keep SHPE open so that people see what it is, and we kind of treat it like the free trial, where you come by, you do as many things, and once you want that next tier, which is where you get access to our scholarship newsletter, where we send you out like 20 scholarships every 2 weeks for you to apply to, or we have site tours that are only open to paid members. You can apply for leadership positions if you're a paid member. There's more perks once you get it, but we want to sort of show you what we're about, and then you're going to end up loving it. So you'll become a paid member.
No, I'm kind of interested.
Yeah, there we go.
All right. So as president, I feel like there's a lot of things that you have to do. You oversee the 7 different committees that you were talking about, and you said you have everything you have something going on basically every single day, and all these different newsletters and emails and all that fun stuff. So how are you able to manage all of that while also being an engineering student, a senior in engineering, and like go ahead and talk about like your time management, how you do that.
Sure. So, I mean, first things first, my calendar is insane. It's so pretty. I always brag about it.
Is it Google?
Um, I yes, but then I also use Teams as well. So like
Oh,
I mix and
okay.
match a little bit because of just like logistical issues.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it really your main thing is just organization at the end of the day. Something that I make sure is that like I know when my time is all the time and like when I can be a little bit flexible, when I can't be.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the times I think that disorganization comes in when you're like, oh, I have an hour to study, and then it takes you an hour and a half, and then that pushes something else back,
Mm-hmm.
which pushes something else back. And I just always know that like if I'm in a meeting that's supposed to be from 1 to 2, and then from there I have to run to a 2:30 thing,
Mm-hmm.
and it's 2 o'clock, I have to know that like guys, it's 2 o'clock, I have to go. Like
Mm-hmm.
sorry, and and that all stems from organization, right? So if you've got like a good calendar set up, a good system set up, you know when your time is and when your availability is, and you can plan that out literally the whole semester in advance.
And so do you feel like you're kind of overloaded with work with senior design and like trying to be president of this and then being in other clubs too? Because fun fact, Nick and I are actually in a club called First Step together where we're mentors for a few freshmen.
Yeah,
So
where I'm the secretary of that club.
yeah.
But so I I don't say I feel overloaded, but it's because rather be doing this than sitting at home. You know,
True.
I last year I was really like considering like, do I want to run for president? Like I
Mm-hmm.
see the toll it's taken on the current president. I know she works a lot. I don't know if that's something that I want to do. Maybe I want to focus on school. But then I realized like, what does focusing on school mean, right? It means,
Mm-hmm.
probably, I don't know, putting my head in more books, doing like homeworks for longer, studying more. When it's like the things I like are SHPE and talking to people and being in these clubs. And why wouldn't I just focus my time on things I like to do?
That is super true. But
Yeah.
how like do you feel like you're struggling academically because of putting all of your like extra time into SHEP at all?
I think a lot of the times it comes in waves, right?
Yeah.
I over the summer we were going through the process of like getting the student government like funding for
Mm-hmm.
our conference that we just had, and I was so stressed out because we had to meet this deadline. And I was like, this is insane. I called the last president. I was just like, hey, is this like this all the time? And she's
Mm-hmm.
like, no, it's like this now. And then there's like the first general body meeting. Then there's the industry barbecue, which is a huge event we do. Then there's
Yeah.
conference. And then that's like, those are your big waves. So as long as you get through those, you'll be fine. And I think because I've been able to know that ahead of time, I've been able to like, if I know next week is going to be super busy
Mm-hmm.
academically, I'm like, this is my only week to study,
Yeah.
even though my exam is like in 10 days, right?
Yeah. So you're like preparing in advance because you know what's coming
Yeah.
next.
Yeah, which is a very difficult thing to do, especially as
Yeah.
engineers. We all know the struggle of being in the atrium day before the exam when you're like, I don't know a thing in this class, and you're just
Yep.
trying to cram. It's definitely like common and normal, and no one should feel bad for doing this. I just know that I
Mm-hmm.
can't, or else I like genuinely won't pass these exams.
Yeah, I'm low key a procrastinator, but I get it done, and that's what matters,
Yeah,
right?
as long as it's
Yeah,
done.
exactly. So you talked about like the conference and the barbecue. Go ahead and like explain more about that. Like, what is it? What do you do?
Sure. So, in SHEP, we every semester around the time of the UCF Career Fair, we host the industry barbecue. UCF Career Fair has typically in the past been like a Wednesday and a Thursday or Thursday and a Friday.
Mm-hmm.
So then earlier that week, we host what we call the industry barbecue. It's a event where we invite a lot of those companies going to that career fair out to Lake Claire to have a barbecue with us. And there's no resumes allowed at this event. It's casual dress,
Oh,
and the whole point of it is to sort of get those jitters out before a career fair, right?
yeah.
At career fair, you're going to have the resume. You're going to be in a suit and tie. You're going to be giving elevator pitches. It's a very
Mm-hmm.
nerve wracking thing.
Yeah.
So, your industry barbecue is your no stress, like, form of talking to recruiters and of sort of getting that practice out, right? And then,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of the times they're hiring even at that, right? So, even though there's no resumes, they members upload their resume to a resume database,
Mm-hmm.
and then afterwards the recruiters get that. So if you had a good conversation, they can look for you in there and then hire you from that possibly.
That's really, really interesting. And like casual wear, I mean, Lake Claire's outside, so that kind of makes
Exactly.
sense.
Yeah, and it's Florida, so it's hot, right? We had it
Yeah.
in September. So like
So
a
it's
lot of
hot.
people would ask, we kept on saying like casual, casual, casual,
Mhm.
and people were like, "Okay, what does that mean?" I'm like, "We're outdoors in Florida having a barbecue in September.
Yeah, like
I'm going to be wearing shorts."
yeah, of course. I mean, everybody should be wearing shorts at that
Mhm.
point.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so then after the barbecue, these people get to go to the career fair and
Yep.
the internship fair and see the same recruiters that they already
Exactly.
had the conversations with.
Yep. Yeah, that's the point. Like you want to you make these connections at the barbecue in an informal way. We have music, we have food, like people are
Yeah.
chatting it up. And then you see each other in the suit and tie, and it's way less stressful because it's like, "Oh, I know this person. I know they're cool.
Yeah,
Like I'm
already
going to go
built
talk to
rapport with
them."
them.
Exactly. So that's the whole point of the industry barbecue, and we do it every semester. So
Mhm.
once the UCF releases when their career fair will be, that's when we know when our industry barbecue will be.
All right, that's really, really
Mhm.
interesting, and people should definitely go to that.
Yeah.
Really, really good.
Highly recommend it.
Yeah.
And it's free. You don't have to be a paid shop
Exactly.
member
It's
to go.
free.
Mhm.
That's awesome. And so, and you also talked about the conference that you just had. Didn't you go to that?
Yep. Yeah. So then that's around the September time, which is something
Mhm.
that we host here at SHPE UCF, the industry barbecue.
Mhm.
The conference is hosted by SHPE Nationals.
Okay.
SHPE is a national organization. They have like a CEO and everything.
What?
And they host a conference that's a few days long in
Mhm.
a different city every year. And it's usually around that November time.
Mhm.
And people go to the conference because there's lectures, there's workshops, and on top of that, the main thing that we prepare for here is the career fair.
All right.
So the career fair this year had like over 200 companies or something crazy like that,
Whoa.
and it
Okay.
was in North Carolina in Charlotte.
What?
So a lot of people were preparing to get their jobs and their offers and internships and things like that. So I think setting a date for that is a huge thing that is really good for us. You know, that's why marathoners sign up for marathons instead of
Mhm.
just running those miles, because you want to train, you want to get ready for a specific day.
Yeah.
And that way, a lot of people that we took ended up getting offers. We took 100 people through SHPE UCF
Whoa.
through that whole like student government process,
Mhm.
and then on top of that, like we sold out. So more people than that went and had to,
Wow.
yeah.
That is really, really cool. So how do you get to go as like do you have to be a member of SHPE to go?
hmm
All right.
Yeah, so that's one of our perks. That if you, so SHPE Nationals makes it so that if you're like a SHPE National member, then
Mhm.
you get like a discounted ticket to go, like that kind
Okay.
of thing. But here at SHPE UCF, we go through the student government CRT process
Mhm.
to get everybody half off tickets of everything. So
Whoa. Okay.
we sold a bundle that was a flight there and back, like direct flight, 3 or 4 nights at a hotel, plus the ticket to the convention, which is $235 on its
Mhm.
own. All of that was for $400.
Whoa.
Because
Okay.
the student government here was super helpful.
Yeah.
We were able to go through that CRT process, and to be able to buy that ticket, you have to be a paid SHPE UCF member.
Mhm.
On top of that, we have like a point system with our club where if you come to events, you can like sort of track your attendance, track your points. If you volunteer, you earn some points. And then
Mhm.
on top of that, some more people can get 90 bucks off if you're in the top 10 of the points, or if you're in
Whoa.
numbers 11 through 40, then you get 55 bucks off.
All right, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And so I know that you've had like a few internships here at like that you've gotten through UCF. Were they through SHPE, like through these conferences?
Yeah, so this was actually my first time in an in-person conference.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was really excited to go. My freshman year, I wasn't able to go, and then after that, it was virtual. Then
Mhm.
after that, I went to like a different conference,
Okay.
and then this year, I was finally able to go to SHPE.
Okay.
But I think when people ask me if I got these internships through SHPE, I really think I did through the professional development I worked on,
Yeah.
the projects I did here, the leadership positions I had. So
Mhm.
I thank SHPE for all of my internships and my success, even though I didn't get these at the conference.
Mhm.
But this year, I actually went to the convention with a full-time offer already. So I kind of just
Wow,
went to,
congrats.
yeah, thank you.
That's awesome. Where
Yeah.
at?
Axiom Space. They're
All
a
right.
space company out in Houston that's
Mm-hmm.
about on their second or third year of operations.
Okay.
They're about like 600 employees, so I'm super
Okay.
excited to go.
That's awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
That's really cool.
But yeah, so I went to the conference just to kind of like have fun and to be
Mm-hmm.
with the other members to help out where needed.
Mm-hmm.
And I found out so much about it, right? About the convention in general. And I signed up for like a competition and I
What?
competed, and it was so much fun.
What competition did you sign up for?
It was called Extreme Engineering,
Oh.
where they give you a prompt. The prompt was, luckily for me, it was build a company in space.
Oh.
And then you have
Okay.
to you have to present it with your group of, I believe it was about 13 people, like 24 hours later.
Oh,
So
okay.
so you like make a little prototype, you make a whole presentation. It was very like business like, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I was the CTO of the company, and there was a CEO, and we presented our business idea, and then afterwards, so the winning company,
Mm-hmm.
each person on that team would win $1,000 scholarship,
Mm-hmm.
and then on top of that, they choose about the top like 5 people in the competition itself to give them scholarships as well.
Wow. Okay.
So you didn't even have to be on the winning team to be one of the top 5 people.
Wow.
And yeah, I got selected as one of the people there, and I won a
Oh,
scholarship for that. So
congrats. That's
thank you. Yeah, I
awesome.
was very happy about it.
That's
So
really, really cool.
yeah,
And so, they have this. Is it only once a year the
the
conference?
convention is
Yeah.
once
Or
a
yeah.
year. Yeah, and it's usually in the November time. Next year's going to be in Salt Lake City, November
Oh,
1st.
Utah.
Yep.
That's
Yeah.
exciting.
Yep. It's a
Oh
lot of
my
fun.
gosh. I know that like conventions and conferences are super big on internships and full-time offers.
Hmm.
And you said that quite a few people from SHPE got offers.
Yes, definitely. Something I was very happy about was, the people who come out to these SHEP events, the ones who are there the most, they're the ones who are typically the most successful, right? Of
Yeah.
course, the more work you put in, the better you come out,
Yeah, the
and
more you get
it's
out of it.
exactly, and it was very evident.
Mm-hmm.
We have so many freshmen that went this year, and it's freshmen whose names I learned real quick because they
Yep.
were at so many events, and they were talking to me, they were talking to our professional development team, they were joining the committees that were relevant to what they wanted to do, and they worked hard, and freshmen got offers for their internships. They started college 3 months ago and
And they
are
already have
already
internships.
already have an internship offer. So
Yeah, that's
it's something that we're
awesome.
huge on, especially us being part of First Step.
Mm-hmm.
We really, really want people to know that freshmen can get offers. I
That
think
is, yeah.
you just have to put in the work, right? You have to put in about you only have 3 months to do it, so you just got to hurry up and get it.
Yeah, exactly. And like even though people don't feel like they have the experience needed, they can still get the offers. Like it's not all based on technical experience. It's also
Right.
based on your communication skills and how well you work with other people. But also as freshmen, you can definitely put the boat race and the robot onto your resumes because that's a really big project that you guys can do.
Yeah, I think both of those were
Mhm.
on my resume when I got my first internship.
Me too.
And yeah, I mean, because the thing is, with freshmen, a lot of them are like, oh, how am I going to compete with someone who's been here for 3 years? And
Mhm.
it's like, well, a lot of these people haven't done extracurriculars, right? Like they haven't
Mhm.
done a project outside of that boat race or outside of that TI robot
Yeah, or they're not in
until, yeah, or
clubs.
they're not in clubs. They're not really working on it. So, it's way more than what you put in the classroom, right?
Mhm.
If you don't have internship experience, your way to get experience is through projects.
Yeah.
So go find a project, go do something, go build up your resume, get those elevator pitch skills working, find a leadership position, because you can do all of these things as a freshman,
Mhm.
which will put you way ahead of a lot of these juniors and seniors.
Yeah, that's really good advice
Hmm.
to put yourself ahead like that. So SHEP is like how many people are in SHEP at UCF? Do you know?
Yeah, so active like paid members, we've
Mhm.
got a little over 200.
Wow.
But it's about people who are active. A lot of people, since we say you don't have to
Mhm.
be a paid member to
Yeah.
come to things, we're about 300 people.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
and we expect to be at about 300 paid members by the end of the spring.
Oh my god, that's really really cool.
Hmm.
So as I was like talking about before, like people feel like they don't have the experience needed. And sometimes when you get these internships and these like opportunities, you feel like you don't fit in or like you aren't qualified for the role. And I know a lot of people call it imposter syndrome. Like do you have anything to say on that?
Sure. So I think it's something I dealt with a lot and as everyone does, right? Especially in engineering, it's
Yep.
hard. And when you're, I don't know, a lot of people went to like engineering high schools, so you pull up to your first day of classes, and people are like, "Yeah, I know a little bit of SolidWorks and this and that," and I'm like, I knew nothing
Yeah, me
coming
too.
in. And you kind of look around and you're like, "Oh my God, these people are so smart," but um, really, you're here for a reason, and as long as you put in the work, there's no reason anyone should doubt you.
Mm-hmm.
Specifically for freshmen, I mean, you just got here. I swear, even though some people may know SolidWorks, some people may know robotics, like we're all in the same boat together. There's way more people who are embarrassed to
Mm-hmm.
admit that they don't know anything, like I was when I first got here.
Mm-hmm.
And then as you get older, it's not like the imposter syndrome goes away, right? You start picking up the skills and the things, and you start becoming that person that was the one who you're like, oh my God, I'll never be like that. But then you're still like, you set goals for yourself and you keep on
Yeah.
going. Once you start getting that experience, I think my main tip for imposter syndrome that I love to tell people is to get into mentorship.
Yeah.
I was the mentorship director of SHPE last year.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the more you mentor people, the more you learn, like, holy crap, I know things,
Well, this
right?
is why you're in first step. It makes
Yeah.
sense now.
Yeah. I mean, I love it. I'm so passionate about the freshmen getting to their point. But then
Mm-hmm.
also, I think when people ask you for advice
Mm-hmm.
and you're able to give it to them, they pull things out of you that you had no idea you had. So it's like,
Really?
yeah, so it's like, whoa, like people are asking me like, what should I do in this situation? What should I do in that one? What
Mm-hmm.
about like this project? Do you know a little bit about this? And the more I talk, the more I'm like, wow, like I am someone who deserves to be here. I am someone who deserves to be giving this person advice.
Yeah.
I think, you should, if you feel comfortable with it, you should be a mentor to people. And then you start realizing like, wow, I've learned a lot. I've picked up a lot.
Yeah.
And it's a super cool thing that's helped me with my imposter syndrome.
Yeah. And that's like being able to mentor people and teach them is a whole other, like, there's so much we can talk about that because I know when I'm studying, if I'm teaching somebody, I know, like, I'm like, oh, I know this material. Like,
Exactly.
I get to know it better,
Yeah.
And I really love being a mentor in First Step. Like, I love telling freshmen, I'm like, yeah, like, I did undergraduate research, like, my second semester ever at UCF. And
Mm-hmm.
I had, like, zero experience before I came here. And it's kind of, like, it's just really, really cool to see that kind of stuff.
Yeah, definitely. And, back to the studying thing, right? I'm sure we've all been in a position where it's like you're studying with a friend and then your friend may know more, they're teaching it to you. You're like, oh, I feel so bad that like whatever that I keep on asking you these questions. And it's
Yeah.
like, no, they're learning with you even though they're
Exactly,
teaching,
yep.
right? And you can be in that position. I think a lot of people think that they need to be at this top level to be a mentor, but like really everyone needs mentorship, right?
Yeah.
I'd say I have like 20 mentors, right?
Yeah,
And I
agreed.
have tons of mentees, and
Yeah.
I have so many people to thank for my success, and everyone is just in different stages. So I think once you're a sophomore, you could probably be a mentor because you already
Yep.
went through that freshman experience.
Yeah.
You can help people out.
That's exactly what I did. I started mentoring when I was a sophomore
Mm-hmm.
for freshmen, and like they were like, "Oh my God, like you're so old." I'm like, "No, I'm literally like 19.
Yeah, right.
I'm not that old.
Yeah,
Stop calling me old."
yeah, yeah. It is pretty crazy, especially when I don't know. The older you get, also just like the freshmen stay the same age. So it's like, oh, I'm only 1 year apart. I'm 2 years apart. I'm 3 years apart. And it's really the same every time, right? Like it's you're still able to give that advice, but then you're able to give advice to the people, to the sophomores, to the juniors, because
Yep.
everyone's going through it, right?
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I get it. So what kind of like do you have like study groups with SHPE that you like work with at
Yeah.
all?
So since SHEP is so, I guess, interdisciplinary,
Mm-hmm.
we have a lot of people of a lot of majors. We do have a lot of aerospace. So,
Okay.
for example, I don't know, the aerospace seniors, we all know each other and we all make sure to study with each other and that
Yeah.
kind of thing. But then a lot of the times, I don't know, everyone studies different, but if I want to get some work done, then I'll go to the atrium and sit with like the SHEP table there, even if they have nothing to do with my homework, because I just want to put my head down, do some work, and then every once in a while, like look up, see people I know, and then just like start chatting to get my brain ready.
Yeah, we always talk in the atrium.
Yeah, even if it's no like, even if it's not about homework or anything, it's like, oh, I need a break. Like I want to hang out
Yeah.
with some people.
Yeah, exactly. And on top of like just being friends with people in the club, it feels like you're kind of networking because they might know somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody that works at Blue Origin, you know? Like
Right.
it's really interesting to kind of see what connections people have in the club too. Do you feel like people in your club have like a lot of connections that could help other people in the club?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, all the time we're sending we have like this job opportunities channel where
Mhm.
you'll typically, most organizations have it, but
Yeah.
it'll be like the president sending things or like
Yeah.
the secretary sending things. I think in SHPE is where I see the most. Someone will be like, "Hey, my friend's manager at NASA needs something. They need these people. Email me to get it." And it's like, this is just a member, right? But they're reaching
Mhm.
out to the SHPE Discord because they know it's a good group of people who need access to these things and these internships.
Oh, that's really cool.
Hmm.
And so I remember you saying that you don't have to be like Hispanic to join the club,
Hmm.
right? So
Right.
do you feel like that your club is really diverse in people or
Yeah.
yeah?
Yeah. About 18% of our club is non-Hispanic,
Okay.
which is actually a stat I'm super proud of because even though Hispanic is in the name, I really, really want everyone to join. Right.
Mhm.
The more people we have, the more diverse we are, the more we learn from each other, and anyone can be in this mission of empowering the Hispanic community in STEM, even if you're not Hispanic. Right. I mean, everyone should be a champion of diversity and working towards, you know, everyone getting their shot.
I agree. And so being like having such a diverse club and having like being the president of SHEP, have you gone into your internships and felt like it wasn't diverse and you felt like you had to do something about it, or did you ask them beforehand about it? Like what do you do about that kind of thing?
I think in the professional sense, a lot of the times, I think in growing up in high school, I wasn't friends with as many like Hispanic people. I didn't have as many around me.
Yeah.
And then I get to SHEP and I'm like, oh my God, there's so many Hispanic people. So
Mhm.
then you go back to a place where it's like, oh, well, there's not as many here as I'm used to in college now, but this is something I've worked with and it's not a bad thing.
Mhm.
I mean, you learn from everyone, right? So I think if you are itching for that feeling of being with people you belong, then maybe that's a club you can start, right? I
Mhm.
know at huge companies like Northrop or where I worked at my sophomore summer,
Mhm.
there's like a Hispanic ERG and employee research group where like if
Okay.
you want to join those, you can join those. But then at Axiom, since they're a smaller company, they're getting started. There's
Mhm.
not a Hispanic research group yet, but if that's something that you feel like is needed, then they're super supportive in being like, hey, I want to start this. How do I do this? And
Mhm.
you get it done.
That's awesome.
Hmm.
And do you feel like you have to give people advice on that kind of thing often in your club?
Yeah, I think something we do focus on, for example, we have a Sheptina's committee, which
Okay.
is our women in STEM, within
Yeah.
Shep. A lot of the times, not only not only are a lot of our members Hispanic in STEM, but they're also like Hispanic female in STEM.
Yeah.
So it's like a double marginalized group.
Yeah.
And it's cool to even find that kind of committee in Shep,
Yeah,
right?
that's really
So
interesting.
we try to so we include that, and they'll typically handle a lot of the topics of what does it mean to be a woman in STEM,
Mhm.
how to speak up when you see something, how to sort of get your ideas heard and not overshadowed. There's topics like that that they'll handle and that they'll talk about in that sense. And then with the Hispanic sense, I think a lot of what we do is just let people know that they should feel comfortable. Um, we talk a lot about our familia sense, right? That's
Yeah.
that's really what we bring to the table, is what I tell a lot of people.
Okay.
The At our GBMs, we have the good music, the food, the friendliness.
Yeah.
I can talk to anyone in Shep and feel comfortable because Hispanic families are huge. So
Yeah.
it's a big thing that like we call ourselves the Shep familia, the familia,
Aw.
and things like that.
Oh, that's great.
Hmm.
Aw, that's so cute.
Yeah.
And like, so do you feel like you've built like strong connections with these people in the clubs? Like you're gonna be friends with them forever, that
Yeah,
kind of thing?
definitely. As this year's gone on, I'm realizing more and more the importance of my friends here.
Aw.
And, I'm approaching graduation. I'm moving out to
Yeah.
Houston. I'm
Ah.
realizing that, like, these friends are going to be friends for so long. And Shep has, like, professional chapters and things
Mhm.
like that, which I'm already planning on joining.
Yeah.
So there's yeah, these people, and not only through SHPE, but then also through my classes and through a lot of things, I'm realizing these connections that you make in college are so important, just as important as the classes and as the projects.
I agree. I feel like the connections in college that you make are super important, and I feel like a lot of them can last like a lifetime, literally.
Right.
Yeah. So, when did you join SHEP? Your freshman year?
Yeah. So, also another fun fact. We were in marching nights together our
Yeah, we
freshman
were.
year, and
Yep.
freshman year I did marching nights for the fall,
Yep.
and then after I heard about SHPE, and I might have gone to like one meeting, but I was like, I'm too busy. There's too much on my
Yeah,
plate.
marching nights is a
So
lot.
it is a lot. It's this 3 practices a week, a couple
Mhm.
hours each one, plus game day.
No
So
tailgates.
yeah, no tailgates, but I still had a lot of fun. I don't regret it at all.
Yeah, me too.
It
I
was
agree.
it was great, but then I realized at one point that I was like, okay, if I want to put in extracurricular time, I've got to either put it into marching nights or SHPE. And
Mhm.
then so for the fall, I tried marching nights. For the spring, I tried SHPE, and then COVID hit. But
Yeah.
I still like got that taste of it, and I was like, this is awesome. And I joined the leadership committee, which is our new member committee.
Okay.
So when you're a new member in SHPE, you get to join leadership, which
Mhm.
is a place where you get experience leading projects,
Mhm.
leading events, and it's sort of your space to work and to sort of see behind the scenes of SHPE,
And you
so
can do
that
that as a
eventually,
freshman?
yeah, that's it's been in the past marketed as the freshman committee. This year I've
Whoa.
changed it up as a new member committee.
Okay,
So
that's a good, yeah.
yeah, so now anyone who's new to SHPE can join, and
Wow.
it's led by the president. So
Okay, so you,
yeah,
all right, that makes sense. You
that's
do
one of
that
the
stuff.
that's one of the things that the president does, and it's my favorite thing I do as president.
Oh, okay.
We meet on Fridays at 12:30, and it's great. This year so far, they've worked on some projects to get, for example, like some marketing items out there,
Okay.
and then as well as they led a SHPE Spirit Week. So
Oh, when was that?
it was 2 weeks ago, I think. We had our conference, and then a week where we were like, okay, let's chill out. And then we had our SHPE Spirit Week. So
Okay.
there's about 15 people in leadership right now, and 3 of them each had a social every day. So
Whoa.
yeah, one was Monday. We did like a SHPE's Giving. It was around Thanksgiving time, so we went
Mhm.
out to Jay Blanchard Park and had a
Oh,
potluck.
it's cute out there. I like
Yeah,
it.
yeah, me too. It's a lot of fun.
Mhm.
On Tuesday, we had an art day where we tie-dyed shirts.
What?
Yeah, it was great. On Wednesday, we did a. Let me remember. Yeah, Wednesday, I think it was a day where we worked on like projects,
Mhm.
and we sort of tried to do like a little mini games where one was to make a like a bridge, one was to make a paper airplane, and then we also had, man, I'm blanking out on one of the days, but I know the other one that I do remember, it was like a holiday day where
Mhm.
we did like Christmas and Halloween like mixed together, where we watched
Oh,
Nightmare Before Christmas,
yeah.
had a costume party, and it was a lot of fun. And then I remember the day I was missing. It was a sports day where we
Oh,
went out
okay.
to Memory Mall and played soccer.
Oh my God, that's really really fun.
Yep.
And like all the like the new members did that. Like
Yep,
they came
yeah,
up with
the
all
new
that.
member committee, they came up with the idea, they led the event. A lot of these had to have a budget, so they submitted the budget.
Mhm.
They marketed it. They found out how many people were going so that they know how much like food and snacks and materials to buy and that
Yeah.
kind of thing. And I think you know, something as simple as planning a holiday day
Mhm.
is, you don't really think about the engineering process that goes behind it,
Yeah.
right? Like the submitting a budget, the forming an idea, the actually seeing it through, finding out how many people are going,
Mhm.
resubmitting a budget because like, oh, there's more people than expected. Sort of that process of working through and seeing, this is step 1, step 2, step 3, back to step 1, over to step 4. Like that's a really big engineering thing that gets your brain working,
Yeah.
and that's the main reason we do leadership.
Wow, that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any other like opportunities for freshmen? Like, do they join different projects and workshops that you guys have?
Yeah, I mean, again, all of our events are open to everybody. So if you're interested in a project, check it out, right? We have a tech committee where they work on our app and on our website. So
Mhm.
if that's something you want to get interested in, you can just go and do it.
Wow.
And then the main thing, like if you're a freshman who really wants to get started and doesn't know where, then I highly recommend leadership because
Mm-hmm.
I run it. But
Yeah.
also it's you'll be around other freshmen, and these freshmen have formed a tight bond, and I would like to brag that a lot of the freshmen in leadership are the ones who went to conference and got their offers. So I think
Oh,
I think a lot
okay.
of it is that um when I was a freshman, I joined leadership and I'm like, okay, I see these other people here. I see there's things to do. And then the president at the time, he showed me what other things are to do in SHPE. So that's where I'm like, okay, I get it. I get what SHPE is. I want to do more work. I want to put in more.
Yeah.
And then that's where you sort of, I guess that's your motivation to keep on going.
Okay, that's awesome.
Hmm.
Before you were president, were you any other like part of the board?
Yeah. So I did a very, I guess, linear way of things, right? I
Okay.
started off as a member where I was just in the leadership committee and the
Mm-hmm.
mentorship committee. After that, I actually ran for a position, the mentorship director position, and I didn't get it. So instead, there's something below that, which is like a coordinator, which
Mm-hmm.
is where any board member or e-board member can um, choose someone to help them sort of be the right hand man. And
Mm-hmm.
I was the executive vice president or the external vice president's coordinator at the time.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, I went from member to coordinator.
Mm-hmm.
Then the next year I ran for secretary and
Okay.
didn't get that one.
What?
So I re-ran for mentorship director and
Mm-hmm.
I got that. So then
Okay.
that's one step up.
Yeah.
And then now the next year I'm president. So
Wow.
I went from a whole like here to here to here to here thing, which is something that you can do. It's a way that I feel like I learned a lot about the club this way.
Mm-hmm.
However, I don't. That's not the way you have to do it.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people think that's how it works. So it's like, oh crap, this person's like already on this step and I'm only on this step, so I can't whatever. No, I mean our current treasurer is a sophomore.
Wow.
Um, I really want to emphasize that even though this is how I did things, that's not how you have to.
Mm-hmm.
I tried to, I applied to things, I didn't get it, and it wasn't the end of the world. I kept on going.
Yeah.
And even though I ran for secretary and I didn't get it, it's like that doesn't mean that I don't deserve the position. That means that the person who was running did. And I worked, I kept on going, and now I'm applied for this position, which I did get. So I'm very happy about it.
Well, that's awesome. And that shows that like even if you fail once, it doesn't mean that you'll fail every time.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, not only failed once, I failed twice at the thing, right?
Yeah.
When I ran for president, I ran unopposed. So
Whoa.
it was a big thing where, talking about that imposter syndrome, right? I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, oh crap, every time I run for something, I didn't get it. And then the one time I did get the position, it's because no one was running against me. What does this mean? Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
A lot of these thoughts come in. But then you look back and it's like, okay, what did I do as mentorship director? I did a great job.
Mm-hmm.
I really, really like mentorship, right? And I saw all of these connections that the mentors and mentees made. And I saw all of the mentees get offers and the mentors tell me, like, a lot of people were nervous to be mentors and then they did it. And then they're like, oh my God, I'm so glad I did this. That feeling of what I was able to do in mentorship
Yeah.
made me think, like, okay, I can do a good job in president, right?
Okay.
Before that, when I was the external vice president's coordinator, we ran the YouTube channel. And it was COVID, right? So we wanted to
Yeah.
find a virtual way to do things. And through that, all of our board members at the time, they submitted a YouTube video.
Mm-hmm.
I interviewed a person from NASA to talk about his experience there. And we posted that on the YouTube channel. So looking back on that, that was a good way to say, like, okay, I did all that right. I can do mentorship even though I didn't get it last year.
Yeah.
You gain experience, and I think a huge thing on the imposter syndrome is like being a mentor is a good way to be reflective,
Mm-hmm.
right? The more you talk to people, it's because or you give advice, it's because you're reflecting on yourself.
Yeah.
If that's not something you're able to do right now, if you're not able to be a mentor, then just try to find other ways to be reflective. And I think that's the best way to, I guess, gain that confidence.
All right, that's pretty good advice. So for like mentors and mentees that you have in the club, is that like only for paying members?
No, you can be a mentor or a mentee, and just not have to be a paid member of SHPE.
Have you guys thought about having industry mentors?
Yeah, that's something we've done in the past.
Mm-hmm.
When I was the mentorship director, we did a collaboration with Lockheed Martin where we where we paired people to that. When I was a freshman, we did one with Boeing.
Mm.
And now this year we're looking at what options do we want to do for the spring.
So how many like people in the industry would you usually have as mentors for your club?
It really depends on interest on both sides, right? I think when I was doing it, there were about 10 industry mentors,
Mm-hmm.
and then we were like, okay, perfect, that means that we can have 10 students, right?
Yeah.
But sometimes the companies will ask the other way around. They'll be like, we can get as many mentors as you want, tell us how many students are interested.
Wow.
So then if we do it, so then at that point we'll just ask our students how many people are interested, and then we'll give them, okay, like 18 signed up. It's like, great, we'll get you 18 people.
Yeah, I know. Did you have like a mentor while you were in your internships too?
Yeah, definitely, he was awesome and he helped me out so much.
Really?
Yeah.
A really cool thing about like my mentor from my internship is that it was her first year working there. Like I think she had been there like 6 months, and so she
Wow.
was pretty new at things, and it's kind of the same exact thing that we were talking about earlier. Like she was teaching me so she could learn too.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
yeah.
It happens at every point, right? When I'm
Mhm.
saying like the sophomores teach the freshmen, juniors can teach freshmen and sophomores, seniors can do this, like
Mhm.
even in the workplace, right? And that's
Yep.
why, speaking from the whole respect your elders thing, that's
Yeah.
that's where that comes from, right? Because
Yeah.
everyone's been through it, everyone's going through it. We're
Exactly.
all like way more similar than we think.
Yeah, and there's no stupid questions either. Every question is important because sometimes you don't know the answer,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Right, exactly.
Yeah. So do you have like any advice that you could give to like people looking for different clubs and like freshmen that are coming into engineering and stuff like that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so the intro to engineering class, I credit for a lot of my success. That class was where I learned projects. I learned what all of the other clubs were, and then I learned a lot about all of the majors. As you progress in college, your time gets more and more precious and limited.
Yeah.
So I think the earlier you get started, the better, right? Go to all the GBMs. Join as many clubs as you can. If you're like, oh, I don't know if I have time, just join. And then if you don't have time, drop it.
How many clubs are you in?
Right now,
Mhm.
about probably like two or three,
Okay.
because SHPE takes up a lot,
Yeah,
and
of
then
course.
first step, and then besides that, I'll jump around to other clubs or other
Like
GBMs or things like that.
AIAA.
Yeah, and then I went to the ASME
Oh
GBM
yeah.
recently. I went to SEDS events as well, and I kind of just like jump around and see what's going on.
Mhm.
But as a freshman, I joined tons of clubs,
Yep.
and I wish I joined more because a lot of the people are afraid of the time commitment. But like, if you're a freshman and you drop a club, it's not a huge deal.
Exactly.
Just
Yeah.
try it out and see if you like it, and then try out the project that they're doing and see if you like that. Just
Mhm.
try as many things as you're possible, and then the more and more you progress, the more you're like, okay, this one's good, I'll keep this one. This one's bad, I can't
Mhm.
do this. I don't have time for this one. And then you sort of narrow your thing until you find the clubs that you really really like, and then you're like, okay, these are the people I'll stick with and the clubs I'll do.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I feel like that's kind of what you did with Shep.
Exactly. Yeah, I tried out a bunch of clubs, and I think that I credit the leadership committee that year and the mentorship committee of my freshman year as a huge reason as to why I was able to stay and be like, this is the club I want to be in.
That's kind of like me with IEEE. Like I love IEEE. It's great. I love being the podcast host and the service chair. Awesome. Um yeah, so give us one more reason why people should join Shep.
Yeah. I think a lot of the times the biggest thing I hear from people when it's like, um, what would you have done differently
Mhm.
in college?
Yeah.
At least whenever I ask our SHPE members, they all say, I wish I would have joined earlier. Right. From when we were talking, I said that I joined in the spring.
Yeah.
I wish I would have joined earlier, right? Like
Wow.
I wish a lot of the times I would look around at the other people and I'm like, oh, they've been here for 6 months and I've been here for one, blah blah. And at the end of the day, it's not a big deal, right?
Yeah.
But you still always think like, man, I wish I joined earlier.
Mhm.
And really, it's because if you join now is when you start working, right? We talked about, the more you put in the work, the better your results will be. And to do that, you got to start early. You got to
Yeah.
keep on going. I mean, we've already told our people, if you weren't successful at conference, if you were successful at conference, practice for next conference starts now. So start
Exactly.
getting that resume up, start getting those elevator pitches up. Even though it feels like November 1st of 2023 is so far away, it's rolling around like that. So I
Mhm.
think the question I might have deviated from was why you should join. I think you should join because it's the best way to get the results you'd like, right? It's a tried and true thing with our members that everyone wishes they joined early because they see the success.
Mm-hmm. All right, great. Well, thank you so much for coming on to the show today. We really appreciate it.
Awesome. Yeah, and thanks for having me. This was so much fun.
Yeah.